Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular city commission meeting for the 24th of February, 2025. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Dollison?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Dantzler?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates?
Here.
And Mayor Birdsong.
Here. We will have an invocation by Bishop Joe Holman of Greater Works Ministries, and will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Vanessa Castillo. Please stand if able.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Shall we pray? Kind Father, in Jesus' name, we come tonight thanking you for such a great city as Winter Haven. Thank you for our mayor and city commission, city manager, his staff. We pray for our police, fire, EMS, who are on the streets, making sure we're safe. Continue to bless Winter Haven, that it may be the city that we can raise our children and live a great life. Bless us and we shall be blessed. Keep us, we shall be kept. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no presentations. We have no developments of note. Commissioners, you have the minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the minutes of February 5th City Commission Agenda Review Meeting and the February 10th Regular City Commission Meeting minutes.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak or address us on these minutes, they may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none. The minutes are adopted. Comments from the audience. We have one person that has signed up, BJ Mannix. Would you please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is BJ Mannix, 6715 Winterset Gardens Road. I'm joined by Peggy Threlkel from the Girls Inc. of Winter Haven. I'm the owner of Mannix Pools and Grills here in Winter Haven, have been for just under 26 years now. And years ago, I learned very easily how rewarding it was to give back to the community that gives to me. I was able to do this with the very first organization that I was able to give back to was Girls Inc. many years ago. And it became very rewarding and addicting. It's very rewarding. So I'm here tonight to speak to you about 2 events that I'm a part of throughout the year. One is Smoke Off the Water, and one is we changed the name this year to Grill Fest. It was Chain of Lakes Egg Fest. We, as a group, have formed a 501c3 this year called Southern Charities Group. We're very passionate about these events. We want to have 3 or 4 a year to raise money for local charities. This year's Smoke Off the Water event, we're going to give proceeds to Humane Society and, of course, Girls Inc. Grill Fest, which is March 29th, we're giving all the proceeds to Girls Inc. We cannot do this without sponsorships. So the reason I stand before you tonight is to see if we can get City of Winter Haven to sponsor us. And I feel that it would be in a very small way from the city. We rent these stages from the city every year. This year for Grill Fest, it's $1,586 approximately, and Smoke Off the Water is $1,985. We'd love nothing more than to have the City of Winter Haven be one of our sponsors for these events with an in-kind sponsorship or donation, if you will, to be able to use these stages. So I don't think that was 5 minutes, but that's why I'm here. First commission meeting, so please don't beat me up. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Well, I guess a request would have needed to have been made, and is this the first time that it has been requested?
This is the first that this has come before the city commission. I understand, Mr. Mex, can you come back to the podium for a moment, if you would, please? I think he has spoken with staff from probably Natalie Wilson and Julie Adams, one or if not both of them, regarding the event. City has, leased or rented out those stages for past few years, I believe. Normally, we charge for those assets when they're used outside of city functions. So that would be, we don't really have a procedure in place for sponsorship. If that's something that the commission was interested in doing, we can explore that option at the commission's request. Yeah, there's really just, there hasn't been a process for us to do that as a sponsorship. We do sponsor a number of events around the community, usually through a cash contribution. And the commission does have some sponsorship dollars within their budget that we could, offset those costs with if you were so inclined.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
The stage insurance, I guess, or is that under the city's master policy? Like if something happened to the stage or it was damaged? Or
It's
something
an
like that?
insured asset.
Okay. And the fees, is that what goes towards paying like the insurance on those?
Those
things,
fees
or-
offset basically the depreciation on that stage, as well as the staffing cost to set that up. So whenever we issue out particularly like what we call our XL stage, so we can see if anybody from Parks and Rec was here, that is the delivery of that stage, the setup of it, that requires manpower. So you're offsetting both of those expenses.
Obviously, the smoke off the water took the place of smoke on the water last year, and that was kind of thrown together at the last minute, but still a success, I believe. And
Very much so.
both of these events, the second one, the Egg Fest, the previous name, obviously has been around for quite some time, and I'm fully confident in both of these events personally that the money goes to the correct causes and the right people are putting this together. And so I'd make a motion that I'd move that we waive the fees for a in-kind sponsorship for both events.
I have something to
Yes.
say. Could he apply through the regular process for funding for that?
So as a 501c3, most definitely. Southern Charities Group can apply for our grant and aid program. Girls Inc. applies, as you know, has been one of our legacy partners or legacy agencies in receiving funds. I don't know that they could apply this year because those trainings have all occurred already, but certainly going forward, that could be an avenue to apply for funding for those events as a 501c3 serving the local community.
My question is, we have several 501c3s that do utilize the stage. I know for a fact. I guess if you establish a precedence here, I don't know how you're going to, because like I said, I know some, and I've been personally involved with it for years, and we've paid it, and others have paid it. And so if you're going to establish that, then that's what you establish going forward. Because if you're going to pick and choose, because all of them are worthy, there are a whole lot, there are a host of organizations that do great work throughout our city. I know, I'm involved in a lot of them. And I think it's a worthy effort. And we've partnered with the city. I've had a relationship before even being here. And we factor that in. I'm sure they do too, in the cost, but we understand that the cost to the city and what you have to do in order, when the stage was actually even purchased. Prior to that, all we had was that smaller one, and then when they purchased the bigger stage. So it's in high demand, and the setup, when you watch just the setup on that thing, is quite extensive. And the staffing that takes to make that happen. So I'm just simply saying, if we establish going forward, this is what we're going to do, then everybody comes in and says, hey, I got a worthy effort. and I want to give consideration to partner with the city on that, and that's what we'll do. But, you know, that's going to be the decision we have to make.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I was going to kind of say the same thing. I'm more comfortable with giving a grant than waiving fees because it does set a precedent when we start waiving fees. We get asked all the time to waive the fees at Nora Mayo, and these are worthy causes. I was at Smoke on the Water myself and had a great time, or Smoke Off the Water, and had a great time, and big, huge supporter of the Humane Society, all that. So has nothing to do with this particular charity. It's just the precedent that we're setting. And I've got no problem supporting these people. But I think we should do it through giving them a gift versus waiving fees, because we've never waived impact fees. We've never waived water fees. You know, everybody, I remember when we went through this with Juanita Elementary or somebody, they wanted us to waive all these fees, and we ended up giving them some money without waiving it. So I don't know how we square that circle, but I would rather give them some money, let them pay the fee instead of the other way around, if that makes sense to anybody.
Help me understand, when there is a relationship or partnership with the city, that there is a reduction in the amount, there is a reduced amount or a lower cost, if I'm not mistaken. Or
If there's a nonprofit that's utilizing one of our facilities, we have a nonprofit rate.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yes.
referring to. That's what I know most are dealing with, and you all are assuming dealing with that too. That is the standard which we have now.
That creates that level playing field for all the
Correct.
nonprofits to
Correct.
pursue.
So again, if we actually move on this matter, then I think we will set a new standard, and I think it's going to be a challenge for us because I promise you, everybody's going to be here asking for the same thing.
It's true.
So what would, if we applied that standard of that nonprofit, is there something that we can apply to the stage, just like the buildings?
Commissioner Yates, I'd have to go back and research that. I believe there is a nonprofit rate on that, but I don't want to speak with certainty without having those figures in front of me.
And just the reason why I made the motion tonight is, I mean, this is the first time it's been requested for the stage in front of us. The events are right around the corner, so, you know, the motion's out there, so we can go with that, and then.
Could I offer some insight maybe
Yep.
on this? And I don't want to interject myself unnecessarily, but maybe a good approach to this scenario might be that you phrase your motion in such a manner as to allow for there to be the opportunity for this year only, given the fact that this entity was unable to advantage itself with the grant and aid process because of the trainings and what have you that are required. And that because of that, so this wouldn't be a precedent then, that you would get rid of that. And would that be something that you would consider, Mayor Pro
I think-
Tem, for tonight only? In other words, the reason why you're doing it is because it's kind of it's a matter of, I say emergency, but it's a timing issue. And therefore, in order to accommodate the request, that you would allow for there to be, for this year only, to give them an opportunity to get into the line or the queue for the grant and aid process?
Yeah, I'm fine with that as long as we can ensure that staff's gonna get, can put into motion a nonprofit rate for use of the stage.
And I need, again, as I said, I need to
Not
research.
tonight,
I believe
but-
that there is one, but I want to
Okay.
verify that
Okay.
to bring back to you.
I know that we have, our organization has used that for years.
Mhm.
You know, this is our 30th year. So even like I said before, there was a stage, you know, so that is in place now. That is what we currently do, is to give the nonprofit rate. I'm not sure if you all have been getting that or not. That's the question.
I was just trying to look at this lengthy invoice, because we did, with Smoke Off the Water, we rented both stages and tables and chairs, and so I didn't want to be rude, but I was trying to look on this to see
Gotcha.
if there was I believe that they do give us a discount every year for the rental of the stages.
But at least that would give the opportunity to avoid, so if in the future, those that were using this stage, and the not-for-profits that apply for the grant and aid, they could take that into consideration, and that we would, from a policy standpoint, we're not waiving the fee, but you're permitting the payment of these funds.
I think this is really a good time to have this discussion because truthfully, I remember having this conversation with Joyce Davis, believe it or not, Voice from the Past, about how they did it at the chamber. And it probably is something that we might want to consider too, is having a formal application. Because what's going to happen is if we pass this, you're right, everybody in the world is going to come up to that podium and ask us to waive these fees. So
For the rest of the year.
yeah, for one time only or whatever it is. So they're going to watch what we do. So, but if we have an application, a formal application that whatever wants us to waive the fee or give them money or whatever, and then if it's going to be asked of us to vote on it, then we need to have an application. I think I need to have something in writing I can read. I'm familiar with Smoke Off the Water because I go every year, but all the rest of them I'm not necessarily familiar with. So if we can see what they do, the people, what their money, blah, 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 and then we can make an informed vote. And because this is what we're doing, we're now setting ourselves up here to have these votes from now on when people want us to waive a fee. And I'm just cautious. I'm just warning you guys because that's what's coming if we do this, because it doesn't cost them anything to come over here and spend 5 minutes and ask us to waive a $1,000 fee. But if we have enough application and we can talk about it at a planning session, then we can actually do it or not. That's my thought.
Mr. Mayor, if it'd be okay if I could just comment on what Commissioner Dancer said. I think what the city attorney has offered is a good approach in the sense that the grant and aid program is a allocation of grant dollars to sponsor nonprofit functions within the community. We have any given year 40, 50 of those applications that come in. Some of them are for ongoing services. For example, without singling anybody out, Kids Pack is one we just recently talked about. That is an ongoing service that they provide. Some of them do come in for a specific, unique program, a point-in-time program to deliver some event. That is an existing vehicle that you have, and you have a committee that you've appointed to vet those and review those based upon the legitimacy of the nonprofit agency, that they are local and it's providing a service back specifically within the Winter Haven community. I think that for the Southern Charities Group, they certainly would qualify for that. They're an established 501c3. They have a SunBiz establishment within the state, so they can qualify and apply for that. As I said, the downside for this year, we're actually looking at the dollars to go forward to next year. So if those folks that will apply in March of 2025 would be getting awards for fiscal year 25-26. Okay. So you would have had to have gone through those trainings, which we just wrapped up this last week.
Right.
In order to apply. Girls Inc. has gone through that training, so they can apply on their behalf for that sponsorship within their application if so chosen. But it doesn't solve the problem for what they have this year. Now, Smoke Off the Water has already occurred 2-3 weeks ago. So what they're looking at is the Grill Fest event that remains. You could look at that on a singular one-off case that stands before you and direct them towards the grant and aid process going forward. But again, I don't have an answer for what do you do for next fiscal year, because they haven't gone through the trainings that have been completed this year. So they would be ineligible to apply for that until they went through that training, and those won't happen again until next January, February.
Has Humane Society gone through it?
I don't know if they have or not, Commissioner.
Girls Inc. could ask on their behalf.
Yep, Girls Inc. could certainly ask on their
Support them.
behalf.
And I was going to say, if Humane Society is the other one, they could ask on their behalf too. And that would be easy
That
way
would
to
that
do
would
it.
be certainly a pathway for the 25-26 fiscal year. Yes, sir. And that could just be included in Girls Inc. submits an application annually and could certainly do that. They could carry that application as having gone through that training.
I just think that what we are faced with tonight is trying to come up with perhaps a solution that not set a precedence Because even if we say one time, this is a one-time deal, that's not going to stop others from coming in. What I would like to see is if we're truly interested in this particular event or events, seeing if there's a way that we could join as a sponsor and not set it up as waiving our fees.
Okay.
I like that. I'm fine with that.
I would like that more as a way forward. And then I just have really, when we set a standard or a precedence, then even though we say it's a one-time deal for one organization, that's not going to prohibit other organizations from seeing what we did here tonight and say, well, do us one time.
And I said, Mario, if we give them money, we sponsor, we get our name on the banner. And that gives us a little bit of publicity that we're supporting this charity. I think that's a good idea.
I think you would have gotten that anyways, but I'll, if it's simpler, I'll just withdraw the motion and I'll make a motion that we contribute $1,000 to each charity event.
We're talking about one event.
One event that remains for this year.
Well, there were two events. I mean, one's already happened, but there's still a bill outstanding and you could make the argument that maybe.
Well, the bill outstanding is for rentals, so.
Yeah, but
Can't retro.
I tried. Make a motion for the $1,000 sponsorship on the event to come.
Is there any discussion?
I'll
All right.
second it. I'll second it.
Well, we don't really need one, but what I'm just close the commission meeting and open the public hearing again.
All right.
So is there anyone that would like to speak to the motion that has been made? I'll close the public hearing. We open the city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposes by the same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you all very much.
All
So
right.
for clarification, if I could, Mr. Mayor, that motion was to offer a $1,000 sponsorship to Southern Charities Group for their expenses associated with the 2025 Grill Fest.
Yes.
And I'll just add, I get what everybody's saying, but where I have trouble with at the end of the day, I mean, and as all of the facilities that we have, I mean, it's the people's stage, it's the people's building, this is the people's city hall. And, you know, I get that there's, you know, there's a line there to be drawn somewhere, and it's often difficult to find what that line is. So.
Well, we have services with that too. We have people involved that, you know, we pay their salaries also.
Well, the only concern problem that I have is that there are just a lot of agencies that, and just like we have to with the grant and aid, we as a commission, we have to set a limit on what we will do. And so I'm, in this particular instance, some suggestions has been made that I think are very upfront and will serve us well. And so I'm fine with it.
Very well.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have some ordinances for second reading. O-2501, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commission ordinance number O-25-01, an ordinance amending ordinance 23-25, the 2035 Winter Haven Comprehensive Plan 2035 Future Land Use Map Series by revising the Future Land Use Map Series by assigning neighborhood support future land use to one annex parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located south of Dundee Road, approximately 1,748 feet east of Overlook Drive Southeast, and approximately 108 feet north of Highway 550. The area covered by this request is 0.11 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. Since this is our second reading, City Manager, we've heard it 3 times. Any
No changes. Nothing has changed, sir. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 025-01 on second and final reading.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O-25-01.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2501 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the city commission meeting, close the public hearing and reopen the city commission meeting. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the ordinance passes. O-2502, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida by assigning commercial-highway C3 zoning district to an annex parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located south of Dundee Road, approximately 1,748 feet east of Overlook Drive Southeast, and approximately 108 feet north of Highway 550. The area covered by this request is 0.11 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. Same applies, City Manager?
Yes, sir. This is the companion ordinance that deals with the assignment of the commercial highway C3 zoning district. Staff recommends City Commission approve ordinance O-25-02 on second and final reading.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve on second reading O-25-22, O-2502.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2502 may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting in a discussion. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, O-2502 is adopted. O-2508, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-08, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, 807 Snidely Avenue. The area covered by this request is 32.39 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is second and final reading on an annexation proposed by ARC Industries, Inc., as shown on your screen. This parcel totals 32.39 plus or minus acres. Petitioner owns the adjacent parcel, which is located in the city limits, and this request will bring both parcels under the same jurisdiction for future development. Staff recommends City Commission approve ordinance O-25-08 on second and final reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
a motion to approve on second reading ordinance O-2508.
All right, thank you. I'll close the commission meeting and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2508 may do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none, O-2508 is adopted. O-2509, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-09, an ordinance amending ordinance number O-24-44, appropriation of funds for defraying the expenses of the municipal government of the city of Winter Haven for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024, providing for severability and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, you recall, the city was awarded a $200,000 grant from the Trail Go Grant Program, which is within the Office of Greenways and Trails. This grant was not budgeted in the current fiscal year. So the City Commission authorized a budget amendment on January 27th, 2025, adding $200,000 in grant revenue to the general fund, as well as the offsetting general fund expenditure. Staff recommends City Commission approve ordinance O-25-09, amending the budget on second and final reading.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O-2509.
Okay, thank you. Our closed commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2509 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Poses by the same sign. O-2509 is adopted. O-2510, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-25-10, an ordinance adopting and designating an updated official seal for the city of Winter Haven, Florida, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, again, this is the third time this has come before you in discussion. So this is in reference to the city seal of the city of Winter Haven. This was originally adopted June 22nd of 1911, so 114 years ago thereabout. In order to address an update to the seal, which will include the date of incorporation as shown on your screen at the bottom of the seal, it does require per state statute the passage of an ordinance to do so. The only change to the seal is that addition of the incorporation 1911. I've provided at the dais for you an image, a cut sheet that has at the top the current city logo or city seal as it was, and then beneath it the black and white version, which is how most of your documents would appear sealed or embossed by the city clerk's office. And then also the colorized version for print on documents that reflects the city's current color palette. Staff is recommending the City Commission approve ordinance O-25-10 on second and final reading.
I just have a question. The seals look like those are oranges that have fallen off the tree.
I don't know what they were thinking in 1911, Mr. Mayor. You can see the top one has them as well positioned differently. I don't know, maybe that's if there's ever a charter amendment to add 2 more seats to the dais, maybe that's what that's for. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering if maybe someone has some insight. No, I don't. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve ordinance O-2510, city seal.
Thank you. I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to O-2510 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none. We have an updated city seal. All right. Consent agenda. Commissioners, you have the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to any item on the consent agenda may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Resolution R-2507, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number R-25-07, a resolution confirming the acceptance of improvements, infrastructure, and dedications in favor of the public/City of Winter Haven, as notated on that certain plat entitled Peach Crossings, recorded in the Office of the Clerk of the Circuit Court in and for Polk County, Florida, in Plat Book 201, pages 18 through 19. Public Records of Polk County, Florida, and authorizing the city manager to release the performance bond posted to guarantee completion of required improvements and infrastructure. General location subdivision is generally south of Eloise Loop Road, west of Pollard Road. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, LGI Homes Florida LLC requests the commission accept certain improvements and dedications in favor of the city as noted on the plat for Beach Crossings. This subdivision consists of 13.6 plus or minus acres. It contains 52 building lots and 7 common lots. All water lines, sewer lines, reuse water, and related infrastructure will be owned and maintained by the city. However, the internal roadways, which are contained within 40-foot rights-of-way, are dedicated to Peach Crossings Homeowners Association. On July 28, 2023, the City Commission approved Resolution R23-40, platting the Peach Crossings subdivision. LGI Homes Florida submitted a performance bond in the amount of $1,244,668.47 to guarantee completion of all required infrastructure and improvements for the subdivision. Recent inspections by staff found all incomplete improvements are now complete, and the water, wastewater, and reuse utilities can now be accepted by the city and the aforementioned performance bond released. There's no direct financial impact as a result of this request. Staff does recommend the City Commission approve Resolution R-25-07. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve Resolution R-2507.
Thank you. I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to R-2507 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. In the discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, resolution R-25-07 is adopted. Resolution R-2508, would you read by title only, City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-25-08, a resolution approving that certain plat entitled Annabelle Estates for filing in accordance with Chapter 177 Florida statutes with specific conditions, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors and establishing an effective date. The general location subdivision is located at the northeast corner of Old Bartow / Lake Wales Road and McLean Road. Thank you.
City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, ERPC Peace Creek LLC is requesting final plat approval for Annabelle Estates. This is a 95.38 plus or minus acre subdivision, which contains 324 building lots and 12 common lots. All water and sewer utilities will be owned and maintained by the city, while all drainage conveyances, internal roadways, and street lighting will be maintained by the CDD. A performance bond in the amount of $860,622.45 has been submitted to the city to cover the cost of the remaining infrastructure items to be complete, which includes sanitary sewer, potable water, off-site improvements, and engineering certification. Annabelle Estates was developed according to the requirements contained in PUD Ordinance 022-45. Water service to the subdivision will be from the Winter Haven water system, and wastewater will be treated at the Wastewater Treatment Plant 3. There is adequate capacity in these systems to serve the subdivision. Access to the subdivision is from Old Bartow, Lake Wales Road, and McLean Road. These roadways have sufficient capacity to serve the subdivision on build-out. Staff recommends City Commission approval of Resolution R-25-08.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the Resolution R-2508.
Thank you. I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to R-2508 may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. In the discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, R-25-08 is adopted. We have no ordinances, first reading. We have one new business item. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Excella is a cloud-based permitting and licensing software currently utilized by Polk County and other counties and cities across Florida for the application submittal, permitting, plan review, and building inspections. Excella will improve efficiencies and provide better, more responsive customer service for our citizens and our builders. Excella partners with a complementary software system called Selectron that integrates with Excella to include additional options, including the scheduling of inspections and proactive communication with contractors and homeowners via text messaging and web-based map-centric inspection management tools that bring all activities in the field into a single dashboard to assist with workload balancing. The final component to the software solution is Burn. Burn is an IT firm that implements Excella, provides training, and provides ongoing support services. Polk County, which also uses this system today, has offered to partner with the city of Winter Haven, along with other municipalities, by allowing the city to utilize templates of configurations that were established by Polk County. By doing so, the city's implementation costs will be greatly reduced from anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 to a cost of just over $80,000. Using that same configuration also creates consistencies for our developers, not only between the city and Polk County, but all the other cities within Polk County that utilize this. When developers are doing business in Polk County, they're using a common, familiar configuration and platform for everything they're doing within the permitting field. Total maximum cost for the implementation of the Excella, Selectron, and Burn solution is $527,001.20. This is spread out over a 5-year window as depicted within your fact sheet. There's a table that shows that amount. The first year's amount is $194,521.83. Year one is currently budgeted in the building division's fiscal year 24-25 budget. Years 2 through 5 will be budgeted accordingly within that same budget as we go forward, keeping in mind that we can only use building fees that we collect for expenses that are incurred within the provision of building service-related services and programs. Staff recommends the City Commission approve the purchase of Excella, Selectron, and Burn permitting and licensing software solutions in the amount of $527,001.20 payable over the 5-year window, utilizing currently budgeted funds from fiscal year 24-25 within the Building Division Fund and available revenue to be budgeted in years 2 through 5. So again, I think this is a very proactive approach to improve how we permit, how we interface not only with homeowners who are doing permitting, but also our development community, creates consistency between the city and the county, provides a tremendous communication and management tool for that process, and at the end of the day, makes doing business in the city of Winter Haven much more efficient and effective.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
motion to approve the purchase of the software.
thank you. I'll close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to new business item 13A may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposers say no. Hearing none, 13A is passed. We have now our commission liaison reports. Start with you, Commissioner Densler.
Not a whole lot to report on. I was under the weather all last week, so I did attend the Friends of the Library reception at the Winter Haven Library. It's an annual reception that they do every year, and I went by and said hello to everybody and gave greetings, and but that was basically it for me for this last 2 weeks.
All right. Commissioner Dawson,
Good evening. Nothing to report tonight.
Commissioner Mercer.
I attended the Polk TPO meeting, and I also took the orientation for being on the TPO so, as the third member, I guess. I also attended the Ridge League in Haines City, and I attended Kiwanis Pancake Festival. They focus on services for the children. They have a lot of other programs that they do, such as Every Child a Swimmer and some of that. So, and that was it for me, I think.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Yates.
Thanks. Thank you. Just one thing I want to talk about, and it was really derived from the Polk TPO meeting. So I asked the TPO staff to kind of give me a little bit more clarity on the Thompson Nursery Road widening project. And my understanding is that there's 2 layouts potentially being proposed for that eastern side of it, closer to the Lake Wells side. And that is, one is a traditional layout with bike paths that are part of the travel lanes. And then the second item that was presented was a multi-use path that's separated from the travel lanes. Both layouts fit within the available space, but for some reason, and DOT supports the multi-use path separated from travel lanes, making it more safer for residents to traverse that area. But the county commission is not wanting to hear that or discuss that. They want to stick with the first layout, which is putting those lanes within the travel lanes. So I was just curious if staff had any indication of what's going on the county level with that project, because it does affect residents of the city of Winter Haven out there.
Eric, do you have any insights on Thompson Nursery Road you can share?
I know that Sean Byers and our office planning manager had attended a few meetings regarding Thompson Nursery Road, and I'll follow up with him, but we had heard the same thing. And I think from a staff level perspective, we would prefer the multi-use trail as well.
I'm just not getting a clear understanding, and I don't know, not that it would do anything, but if a letter of support from the city commission went to the county to say, hey, we would support multi-use lanes separated from the main travel lanes, if that would have any bearings on what, but it's safer with the amount of traffic that's out there and pedestrians competing in those same traffic lanes. It's not safe.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
comment? I want to thank Commissioner Yates because you're very right. I live out there and I see how fast people drive. And I feel so sorry for those people on Cypress Gardens Boulevard that don't have a separate sidewalk. They have to ride their bikes and walk out there with people driving 60 down Cypress Gardens Boulevard. It's going to be the same thing out there. So I think a letter of support for a separate lane would be good. It has to be a money issue. That's all I can figure. They're just not wanting to spend the money for it. But I think we should definitely support that. And thank you for bringing that up because I was not aware of that. And, we all got letters recently in regards to the road going through Bach Tower. And I don't know if we want to wade in on that issue as well, but I think it was Dr. Butts maybe wrote the letter to all of us. I think we all got a copy of it, but he made some very good points. And I'm a big user of Bach Tower, and they're all concerned out there about what's going to happen to that place if that road, one of those configurations, there's several configurations. And again, we as a body may want to wade in, we may not, but if we do, we probably need to do it pretty soon to where they don't just destroy that place out of Bach Tower.
So that came up as well, and I made the recommendation, and after some lengthy discussion on it, they can go with different segments of those suggested areas. So my suggestion was take A all the way up to Dundee, and then Dundee can pick up the B, C, D path of travel at that point. That clearly navigates all the traffic away from Bach Tower and the historic gardens over there. That was my suggestion. And I think, again, probably a letter of support would probably be warranted along those same lines, is to pick up that A, which is off of 60, kind of going to be well west of 27. A is the furthest west connection to start heading north. And then you take that A on up to the Dundee area, and then that can then pick up the B, C, or D paths from there.
That's a great idea. I'd support that if we want to do it as a board. I'm on for it. So
What I might suggest, if I could, if the commission's in agreement for both of those actions, 2 separate letters, one to Polk County BOCC and copying that to the TPO on Thompson Nursery Road, because that is a county road, and then a separate letter supporting decisions on the eastern leg of the Polk Parkway bypass, whatever the official name of that road is, that have the least impact on Bach Tower Botanical Gardens. And that would likely go, Eric, to the TPO and is that the Turnpike Authority or DOT?
The Turnpike Authority presented those four
Yeah,
different.
it's the Turnpike Authority, but there's a manager at DOT that is a project
So
manager.
two different recipients of that, and we can copy certainly the county on that one on the Polk Parkway piece so that they're informed of that as well. But I think those are two different letters, and if the commission is supportive of us preparing those for your signature, we can get that done rather quickly.
I am.
I am.
Mr. Mayor, is there consensus to do both letters?
Yes, consensus.
Yes.
Yes.
We're all good.
Yes.
Anything else?
You'll have a letter where we all sign it, right?
Yes,
That
sir.
cover
Yeah,
letter,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. We should be able to prepare that by the end of the week.
Okay. All right, I just have two things. I chaired the Central Florida Regional Planning Council and also a special call meeting of the cooperative. And the special call meeting for the cooperative had to do with eminent domain and where our deep wells and the plant is being built. Right down from there, the lines that they want to run, the people that own the property is fighting it tooth and nail. They don't want it. So we had to have a special meeting to continue to pursue the eminent domain. So that was it for me. City Attorney,
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
City Manager.
A few things, if I may, Mr. Mayor. First off, we have a complete street design RFQ, request for qualifications, that will be released for the 6th Street Southwest project. This is generally in the area of Venue 650 in the Winter Haven Water Department, one of our DOT-funded complete streets. And we're looking for a liaison to be assigned to that if the commission so chooses to have one. Again, this is just for the design RFQ process of selecting the firm to provide those services.
All right, we have a volunteer.
Thank you, Commissioner Mercer. Second thing, this Thursday is the Polk County Legislative Delegation meeting that we hold. It's held every year in advance or going into session for the county, the municipalities, the school board, other governmental entities and nonprofits and citizens to share concerns and comments to the delegation. This is being held this Thursday, February 27th at 1 p.m. at the Board of County Commission building in Bartow. Commissioner Yates is representing the city to speak at that. We are on their agenda as typical, and several of you have spoken at that in the past. It will focus around our legislative agenda, which we have shared with you in prior meetings. And just really getting ready for the legislative session to kick off. There's a number of bills that we're tracking in addition to what's in our legislative platform. We're staying very much abreast of what is in the governor's budget proposal, which speaks to some of the funding that we've talked about for programs like Florida Communities Trust, Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program, Arts and Culture Grant programs. Those are presently within the governor's budget, and we will continue to advocate that those remain in the final budget that's produced. So, like I said, Mayor Pro Tem Yates will be speaking at that, and we will follow back up with any comments from there. This Saturday, for those of you that are able to make it, the first pitch ceremonial kickoff opening of the Chain of Lakes Park baseball facilities will take place beginning at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. For those of you that are able to attend, we ask that you report no later than 8:45. Those ceremonies will take place on Field 3, which is the picturesque field that has the outfield is Lake Lulu. It will include comments from Mayor Birdsong as well as from Commissioner Santiago from the Board of County Commissioners. And there will be a ceremonial first pitch and followed by the kickoff of games. That facility did open this past weekend. We had a smaller tournament for Saturday and Sunday, which gave us a good test run on the facility. The final round of games were played under the lights. Everything seemed to go very well with that. There is a lot of work that is yet to be done out there, but certainly the fields are playable in tip-top shape. And we were able to accommodate not only that tournament, but also a volleyball tournament and the opening of a show on the small stage. So a lot of activity happening at the complex, and the parking seemed to function pretty well. So looking forward to a great weekend down there. This is the kickoff of the Russ Mat tournament. So we'll have those folks in town for several weeks, along with a whole slew of collegiate softball players that will be competing at the Diamondplex facility throughout the month of March. So hotel rooms and restaurants will be bustling here in Winter Haven and throughout Polk County for the remainder of the month and through March, certainly. Tomorrow, I travel out of state to attend the ICMA Local Government Reimagined Conference. I'll be back into Winter Haven sometime Sunday. During my absence, MJ will be available to address any comment, any concerns that come up, or any issues that need to be navigated by the city manager's office, along with Assistant City Manager Charlie Bird. And I think that is everything I have for this evening, sir.
All right. Deputy City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. I do have one thing tonight. So obviously, there's a lot happening at the federal level that we are tracking. The one that's hitting closest to home this week is grants. We receive a lot of federal funding for airport projects, transportation projects, CDBG funding, fire department grants, and a number of other programs. We have temporary stop orders on most of our grants that we received the week before last, I think it was, and we started to receive actual terminations last week, the first of which was for our urban forestry grant that the city received. So it's disappointing that money is gone, but the city has money budgeted a 50% match on that. They have contractors on board, so staff is continuing to push ahead. With those efforts, it'll just be at a diminished level from what it was for the time being. So we'll continue to work on other funding strategies there, but that took a pretty big hit. The others that we're watching really closely right now are the micro transit funding that we had lined up for downtown, as well as the Safe Streets for All grant that we were looking at for creating pedestrian improvements in school zones, things of that nature. And then our congressional appropriations that we've received. Those are kind of the ones that we're watching very closely right now. So not a lot of good news on that, but we're paying attention to it and, pivoting as these things come in.
I think the main point with that, Mayor and Commissioners, is that Winter Haven is a community of 60,000 people. We're feeling the pain just like everybody else is of what happens at the federal level. So hopefully, where we're paused on some grants, those continue to move forward. But when we do get a termination letter of a specific grant, that's certainly something we want to make sure you're aware of.
Okay, thank you. City Clerk,
Nothing from me this evening. Thank you.
Deputy City Clerk. All right. Emergency matters not received for the agenda. Motion to adjourn. No motion?
I said I'll make a motion.
We stand adjourned.